They come and go. Okay, good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, and thank you for joining us today in our MRFA AGM this year. I'm Tony Sawicki, Chair of the Manitoba Restaurant and Food Service Association, and we have a full AGM planned for us all today. But at first, I'd like to welcome our Executive Director and CEO, Sean Jeffrey, to the podium for a few times tonight to provide our land acknowledgement.
Thank you, Mr. Sawicki. Today, we acknowledge that we are gathering today and the businesses that we operate are located on Treaty 1 territory, the original lands of Anishinaabe, Cree, Oji-Cree, Dakota, and the Dene people, and on the homeland of the Métis Nation. We respect the treaties that are made in these territories and we acknowledge the harms and the mistakes of the past. And we dedicate ourselves to moving forward with partnership with Indigenous communities in a spirit of reconciliation and collaboration for the future. Thank you.
Thank you, Sean. Now we've got a full lineup today for this afternoon, and right now we're going to have Avi Khan, MLA from the province, with greetings, but he is going to be running late. He's just at the House there pushing through legislation for the betterment of industry. So we'll move along. We do have greetings from the city, our new elected city of Winnipeg Mayor, Mr. Scott Gillingham. And he's been a longtime friend of ours, the restaurant. He's a foodie and he's a friend to the industry. And one of the platforms he ran on was Patio City. So we're pretty excited to hear what that's all about. So come on up there, Mr. Mayor.
Well, good afternoon, everyone. It's really, really great to be with you. And thank you for the treaty land acknowledgement, Sean. I appreciate that. I want to thank the Manitoba Restaurant and Food Services Association for the opportunity to bring greetings on behalf of all of my Winnipeg City Council colleagues. Just recently in the election, the really neat thing about the election is that we only have one new city councillor, and I think that's a good thing. So all of us as a council should be able to hit the ground running, working on your behalf and on behalf of certainly all of the industries and sectors across Winnipeg. And it's good to be with you, Tony, and Sean, and Shannon as well, and to all of the other board members of your association. I had the opportunity just recently, we're talking about food services and restaurants. I had the opportunity recently to be with Mr. Doug Stevens, who I know is looking at opening. There you are. Good to see you, Doug. I want to recognize you today. The opportunity to be with Doug just recently at the ribbon cutting of the renovations at 201 Portage Avenue, which looks just fantastic. And Doug is looking at new initiative there. Certainly, the space looks like it's going to be fantastic. And I want to thank all of you, for investing in Winnipeg, across Winnipeg, whether it's downtown or the farthest corners of our suburbs. Thank you for the investments you've made and continue to make. I know certainly that the last 2 plus years have not been easy, certainly have not been easy for your industry. I want to thank the members of the MRFA for your commitment to doing business in our city and through other municipalities across Manitoba as well. The restaurants really do bring life to the city. They're gathering places for family celebrations, as we know. They're gathering places to watch the big sporting events, or just a place to meet with friends at the end of a long week. They also provide a lot of people their first experiences in the workforce. And so I sincerely commend you because you give a lot of young people their first opportunity. So a lot of times you don't get them trained, you get them green as grass, and that can be a good thing, and that can be a challenging thing, no doubt. So thank you for the patience and the first opportunity for work that you give a lot of people. And that can lead to a lot of lifelong relationships as well. I was thinking just recently that the first time I met my now mother-in-law was when my soon-to-be girlfriend, now wife, brought her to a restaurant. Marla's my wife. We had dated a couple of times, and so she wanted to introduce her mother-in-law or her mom to me. I was serving at a restaurant up in Saskatoon, And so I poured them so many cups of coffee that night. Her mom kind of figured out, who's this guy that we, keeps coming to the table. So 29 years of marriage later, it all started in a restaurant when I was working there. So the last few years, as I said, have been difficult for all of us, and certainly for you in your industry. But I know the pandemic shutdowns, followed by some really big changes in the labor market, and then inflation have really tested your mettle. And I know that during the pandemic, I was chair of the finance committee at the City of Winnipeg, and we were one of the only cities across Canada that provided 2 rounds of grant funding to businesses. And I know some of you took advantage of that. And I spent quite a bit of time talking to Tony over the years, especially the last couple of years, about the challenges you faced and are still facing. And I'm certainly interested now in this role as mayor to continue to hear from you. Tony has my number. It hasn't changed. You can still text or call me. And you can certainly reach out to me as well, as an industry. I really want to see what we can continue to do as a city to make you more successful, because your work is really, really important. Right now, I'm going to an event tonight, the Association of Manitoba Municipalities. There's civic leaders from all different municipalities all across Canada, or all across Manitoba, and they're in town right now. What are they doing? They're eating at your restaurants, right? And so if we can make it better for you, and make you successful, it's great for our city. It helps our city. During my first campaign, during my campaign, I spoke about a few things that I believe can help. I want to continue to make improvement to our permitting processes and streamline the process to get a new restaurant or an expansion approved. You are experts when it comes to providing great food and exceptional service, but you shouldn't have to be experts on city permitting processes as well, or zoning bylaws. And second, as Tony mentioned a moment ago, during the campaign, I talked about something called Patio City, which is a program ultimately that will make it easier for restaurant owners to set up a patio. Rather than having to ask for permission and jump through hoops and administrative hurdles that can take months and months and months to clear, I want to give you the right to outdoor dining just simply by registering online with the city. And so under this model, restaurants adjoining a qualifying public space or a private outdoor space will be entitled to offer patio service on that space, provided basic rules of noise and safety and emergency access and pedestrian access and access for people with disability are observed. And I know this won't address all of your challenges that you're facing right now, but I hope it's one more small thing that makes life a little easier for you and helps you be more successful faster. And it gives you time to focus on running your business rather than dealing with City Hall. And I know through ongoing dialogue and conversation, we can continue to identify some barriers and do our best to remove those barriers so that you can be more successful. And so it's good to see Mr. Avi Khan here today as well. Welcome, Avi. And in closing, again, once again, thank you so much for the opportunity to be with you, and I wish you success in your future. Thank you.
I know why I voted for him. Thank you very much, Mr. Mayor. That was, I'm glad you're answering your phone every time I phone. I'm sorry for bugging you almost weekly, but it shows you things can be done. When you work together, we can do things. We can advance. We now have Avi Khan, our MLA for the province. Thank you very much for coming down. Avi, I've known him for many years. Pretty much everybody in the room knows him. He's a long-standing member of the association, and his background in restaurants. We're glad to have him here, and we're glad for his attendance. So come on up here, Avi.
Thank you very much for that intro, Tony. I apologize for being a little late. I just we're in session right now, so we just came from our question period. So I apologize. I am learning. Want to pass along my condolences to the Bombers, unfortunately, for losing this weekend. But I will say I have the ultimate record claim to fame. Nice sock, Sean. Of they lost 1 Grey Cup. I have 3 silver medals in the Grey Cup. So. I mean, that's my claim to fame. I never won one. So I am proud of the boys. They did win 2 of them. So good on them. Good afternoon, everyone. I am pleased to be here today. Big greetings on behalf of the province of Manitoba. I would like to acknowledge that we are on First Nations people of Treaty 1 territory, the homeland of the Red River Métis Nation, and ancestral homelands that was of the Métis, sorry. Today's annual general meeting is an important opportunity for us to celebrate the hard work of restaurants and food service industry as it rebuilds following the deeply challenging and disruptive effects of the pandemic. As a restaurant owner myself, and for those like I look around the room and I actually know a lot of you personally, as a restaurant owner yourself, don't be fooled by this fancy suit. I know how hard things have been the past few years and how difficult the recovery can be while we try to navigate these roads ahead of us. Supply chain issues, workforce challenges, and inflation. But I have also seen the industry showcase its leadership as you look around the room today. Its resilience, its innovation in responding to the challenges. Our government is committed to building a strong economy and workforce with a renewed focus on finding new opportunities for investment, trade, and economic development. And with the support of industry partners like you, Manitoba is on the right track to recover and grow. In 2021, our economy grew by 4.4%. That's a pretty good number coming out of the pandemic. We're still in the pandemic. And Manitoba had a record $17.4 billion in exports. Our unemployment rate is one of the lowest at just below 5%. And we're seeing record employment with nearly 675,000 individuals employed as of October 2022. We are headed in the right direction, but there's a lot of work to be done. Last month, we announced the creation of a tax competitiveness working group, which aims to make Manitoba more affordable and more competitive for businesses. We also introduced the Small Business Minimum Wage Adjustment Program to help businesses with higher payroll costs arising from increase to minimum wage, while ensuring we provide competitive wages to new and returning workers. One of our biggest ongoing priorities is workforce development, working with industry and businesses to address labor shortages. We are also working towards better alignment with post-secondary institutions. All of these to support this industry, our industry, my industry. Together with partners like you, we can attract investments and showcase Manitoba as a great place to live, work, and do business. I would like to commend the Manitoba Restaurants Food Service Association for the work you do and support for the industry. You have been a vital part of the resilience and success of restaurants and food service businesses in this province. So I thank you for that. Personally, I know Tony and Sean very well, so thank you guys for all the work you do. And congratulations to all the members here today as you mark another year of achievements for your industry and for Manitoba Restaurants Food Service Association. Thank you again, once again, for inviting me to your AGM. Now, that's the government part. That's the notes they give me, and that's where's my handler? Where did he go, Brayden? Okay, this is off the record. Scott, you politicians should probably leave the room. So that's the notes that the government gives me, right? They give me the notes, I gotta say, I mean, we're doing a lot of great things. Now, I wanted to take a few minutes and ask Sean if I could do this, if I could speak from the heart, from stuff that I've gone through. Now, you know, for those that don't, yeah, I wear suits and I got a tie, and this is the protocol we have to wear in the house. But I'm a restaurant owner. I mean, I played for the Bombers for 10 years, for 7 years in Ottawa and Calgary. And then I jumped right, I played in the Grey Cup November 23rd, 2012, and I opened my restaurant 6 weeks later, January. And in between that, I had the birth of my first son. So I know what it's like to open a restaurant. I worked in the restaurant. I slept in the restaurant for the first while. I take a tremendous amount of pride being from the hospitality industry, from being from restaurants. And although I may be a politician now, I'm still a restaurateur, I'm an entrepreneur. I've had my store broken into 5 times during the pandemic. 5. We all know insurance doesn't cover that. It's $1,500 a window. My deductible's $1,000. That's 5 times $1,500 I'm paying to replace those windows. And we're a fast casual restaurant. I'm not a fine dining establishment like Tony's over here, right? We sell shortless. I've had to close my stores because I can't find staff to work the shifts. We're just closed on Saturday when my staff called in sick. The new day and age we're living in, it's tough. It's a grind right now. Sales are not back to where they were pre-pandemic. Everyone thinks things are back to normal, and they're not. All of my stores are down across the board, and I have 7 of them. It's hard. It's very hard. I'm telling you, not as a politician, as Abhi Khan, the restaurateur, and I still hope as a friend, even though I'm a politician now, I still hope we're friends in this room, that it's tough. It's been tough. But I took the jump to political office so that I can make a difference. And those of you that know me fundamentally, I know the type of character I am, just like Scott here, who I was also happy to support for mayor. Congratulations, your worship, supposed to refer to you as. we took the jump, I took the jump to political office to make a difference, to make Winnipeg, Manitoba better, to make our industry better. That's why I got into politics. I didn't need to get into politics. Restaurants are doing okay. Could have gone into other things, but I took the jump because I wanted to make a difference. I've been in MLA for 7 months now, not a very long time. I'm a backbencher. So for those of you who don't know what that means, is I sit on the back of the last bench in the House, and I just yell at the opposition all day. I don't have a portfolio. I don't have a cabinet position. So I have a small say, but I have a say in caucus. I have a say with our colleagues. Now, some of you might not believe me or not, but I am advocating for our industry in there every single time this comes up. And I can tell you guys some stories in a smaller, intimate, more gathering of things that happen. And you have allies in our caucus. Our PC party understands what you're going through. You have me, you have other allies advocating there. Now, I know the last announcement we made wasn't, not everyone loved it, right? With the minimum wage hike increase. I'll tell you right now, and the reason why I was late today was we're actually voting on bill number 4. Is it 4, Brendan? Bill number 4 today in the House. And that is that we want to gradually increase the minimum wage. We understand with inflation, cost of living, minimum wage has to go up. I think we all agree that it has to go up. How it goes up, how much it goes up is the question. But I'll tell you right now, our PC government we're doing the $13.50. The NDP wanted to do $15 overnight. And that is what they're arguing today. And that's why I was late today, because we're arguing that today in the House. They want $15 as of today. We're saying, no way, we got to go slow. We're going $13.50, we're going $14, $15 in April, and then we're going to see if we haven't, 100% committed to 15, but we're going to see 15 in October of next year. We got to go slow. It's got to go up, it's got to go slow. But I tell you, you have allies with me and your PC. It's not a political picture, but you have allies advocating for us. We understand. Now, I know that 50-cent minimum wage program didn't help everyone, right? And we're working at that. I'm having conversation with leaders in this industry to say, how can we make it better? It's not just going to make one announcement, doesn't mean it's done forever. There's opportunity to go back and have further discussion. So I want to assure you today that it's an honor for me to be here. I was worried coming in here today. I said, I don't know what the response is going to be, but I am here for you, just like our new mayor is here for you. I'm here as your friend, as a fellow restaurateur, and as a politician. So thank you very much for having me today. I look forward to this. I would look forward to discussion, but I actually got to get back to the House right away because we're voting on that bill today. And I would suck if we lost by 1 vote and minimum wage went up to $15 tomorrow. So that would suck. So on that note, I thank you very much. Hey, and I'll leave it on this last thing. If anyone in this room wants to reach out to me to have a conversation how we can help your industry, please reach out to me, even if I'm not your MLA. Okay, it's just obby@obbycon.ca. My website's obbycon, it's not hard to find. Just don't send me hate mail. But reach out to me if you have any questions, any concerns, any ideas on how you think we can help you as government. Please reach out to me at obbycon, and I would be more than happy to take concerns to caucus and government. Thank you very much, everyone, and have a great AGM today. Thank you.
Thank you, Abby. That was fantastic. It just goes to show you how many friends we got in working for us and fighting for us that we don't know that actually around, but they are fighting and they're doing a great job. And yeah, that minimum wage, if it goes up to 15, Abby, it's going to cost about $100,000 by next October. So just keep that in mind.
Working at it, brother.
All right.
I promise.
Now, last but not least of our pre-official meeting items, we have our guest speaker, Ms. Shannon Fontaine, of the CEO of MTEC, Manitoba Tourism Education Council. Now, the MRFA and MTEC have been a regular collaborative partnership for many years, and we're just happy to see what her remarks. So come on up.
Just before Shannon actually starts, I do want to let you know that, sorry, Shannon, I should probably turn that off.
I was gonna sing, Scott.
And just before Shannon starts, I just want to really play the reason for having Shannon here today. Shannon has absolutely been a spectacular partner of the Restaurant Association and our industry since ever, right? She's instilling and creating programs every day that train people in our industry, make people better in our industry, bring people to our industry. And I really appreciate you being here today, because I think it needs to be recognized, the work that you do for our industry, because sometimes it is not overly recognized on how important training and development and initiative into the industry is in our future and our survival and our viability in bringing people to our industry. So I just wanted to make sure that everybody's aware that you're well loved by the Restaurant Association.
Thank you, Sean. And I'm going to start by saying what MTech is, because some know and some don't, so we're not going to assume. So Manitoba Tourism Education Council has been around literally 33 years, 1989 it was started. It is the sector council for the tourism industry. So we receive federal and provincial funding to represent the industry in Manitoba. We opened a college. I've been there 13 years as the CEO. Prior to that, I ran a business training center, and prior to that, I was a hotelier for years. That's where I started my career. So this industry is very close to my heart and always has been. We opened a college, which is a post-secondary, 8 years ago. So the Manitoba Tourism Education College, original. Started with a different name. It didn't work, so we did what worked. So we are training new employees. We are training existing employees for jobs in the tourism industry. The labor issue has been hideous, so we are very aware of what's been going on in the industry. This has been a long 2.5 years. I'm not political. We get government funding, so sometimes I just shut up. But I've been on calls with the province with Sean for the last 1.5 years. So at some point you have to say something because, I think I always said something, sort of my nature. But I'll start with when we were sitting on those calls and the industry closed in March 2020, thinking, oh my God. And then we're hearing on and on at pretty well every meeting, and it started with 2 meetings a week about consumer confidence. So what happens when those businesses open back up? And again, when we shut down, we didn't know exactly how long they were going to stay closed. It ended up being till June 1st, 2020. So listening to the conversation of consumer confidence, so that they open and people don't go back, like that's horrible. So what came out of that was clean it right. And literally I had been in the back of my mind. I had seen a show on Marketplace where they showed them cleaning a 5-star hidden camera, 5-star hotel in Toronto, hidden camera, where the housekeeper was cleaning the toilet with the brush and then went and did the sink and the counter. So it's always been in the back of my mind. This brought it to light. So Clean It Right was started, or we started developing it. It's an online program. It's an enhanced cleaning program. We started with restaurants and hotels and retail. There's 5 different programs. And we had timing is everything. We've had over 6,000 Manitobans take this. We've had 400 businesses get certified. So it was meant to be a recognition program. COVID is listed once. There's everything else that now all the other viruses that everybody's afraid of. The enhanced cleaning goes with that too. But this really was to get people to come back to your businesses. So we've invested in bus benches, which still exist all over the city. We had billboards. We're doing recognition programs. So you have a decal in your window if you're certified. It will carry on. Now we're marketing with it. So if you get our newsletter, which we have about 4,000 people in our newsletter, we feature 8 or 9 businesses that are certified every week, and it has a link to your website. So free, everything is free. This was a gift to the tourism industry. If the province would fund it, that was great. If they didn't, we were doing it anyway. And so they funded part of it. And what happened with that is I had calls from all over Canada asking to buy it. So again, timing. So we ended up gifting it. We will not ever make 1 cent off Clean It Right. So we gifted it to all the provinces, probably 10 out of the provinces and territories. So if you go to Nova Scotia or you go to PEI or New Brunswick, Clean It Right exists. Saskatchewan Tourism has it. New Brunswick in French has it. So this has been a really amazing program that we're carrying on. So again, it's not something that meant to have a short life. It's meant to carry on, and we will soon, I hope, is erase COVID out of there. So it really wasn't, that was what started it, but that was not the whole intent. So what we started with during the pandemic, we've carried on. So another one we have is handling difficult situations. It started with handling difficult situations during COVID-19 with the ever-changing health orders. And as restaurateurs, you know, from the decibels in in your music to masks and covering your nose and $5,000 fines. And again, we were hearing these on these calls about the fines coming. And so this is to train your staff. We've changed the name now to be handling difficult situations post-pandemic. because I'm really hoping we are post-pandemic. But again, your staff can go on, take it. It's how to deal with your customers, and people have kind of lost their filters. And I don't know what has happened, but I'm hearing it from a lot of different businesses that the customers are being really rude with higher expectations maybe than ever before. And now they're going to face higher expense because they have to, because I know like your food and labor costs have gone up too. It's a difficult time. And then if wages going up, everything, it's like a perfect storm. So people are going to have a greater expectation that they have a good time when they're at your restaurant. And then you're desperate, so you hire people that are not really trained to what you might want. You know, some have the fortune of having existing staff for years, but so we've added the two programs. So the one, handling difficult situations, is diffusing the problem and realizing this is a customer, you want them coming back. So now the masks and the mandates are gone, you still want them coming back when everything is said and done. So that program, again, you can go online 24/7 and take it. We also handle, because of hiring different people, with serving techniques for an exceptional service. And that's because you're hiring servers that maybe aren't sure how to set or clear a table. We had a request from Flin Flon for it. So we developed that, and that is available as well. And that's in a classroom setting, or we can do it via Zoom as well. And we've done that for some hotels and some restaurants across the city. But again, free. More lately, we started Zoom. It wasn't more lately, it was probably in June or right before that. We started doing Zoom training. And we have trained in 2020, we trained 15,500 people. And in 2021, 16,800 people. So that's a combination of online, classroom, and thank God for Zoom. Because who knows, we had it sitting in a back room. We hadn't really used it much, and it has saved the day. So it's still live seminars, 3 hours, free. So I haven't said anything that's charged for yet, except I guess food handlers. We still have that as well. But we just developed and launched last month an online business planning portal. So if you are going for a loan or thinking of expanding, or I don't know, I'm not going to go any further with that, you might want to write a business plan. And we have developed it. It's online. It's free for the tourism industry. It's a comprehensive program that you can literally walk you through a business plan. This would be good if you had staff who want to increase their business acumen, because it does teach you operations, it teaches you market research, marketing plan, all the way through a business plan. And we've added training to go with that. Again, free. So it's starting January 4th. You can come, it's 3 hours, whether it's in class or you can Zoom in. It's there'll be 6 business planning courses to go along with that portal. So we've been busy. We continue to add training. At any point, if you want something that we're not offering, you can tell us and we will add it. We have HR sessions because I'm the HR person, not a place. We're not big enough to have an HR department. So if you need any help in that area, anything we can do, this has been a difficult time and we will continue to support the industry. Any questions?
Thank you very much, Ms. Fontaine. You know what? I didn't know half of that stuff. I got to get online and make sure I just check that out for sure. Now, I stay behind here because this soup was made in Thailand 5 years ago, so I don't want to pop a button for you, change the show a bit. But now I'll get on to, thank you very much. This is great. I'll get on to the regular meeting, if you don't mind. Now, the meeting will come to order. This is the annual general meeting of the members of the Manitoba Food Service Association, the MRFA. Pursuant to the bylaws, I, Tony Sawicki, as chair of the MRFA, will conduct the meeting. Sean Jeffrey, executive director of the MRFA, has appointed Megan McIntosh, operations manager, to act as secretary. Now I too have something to say here. For those who do not know me, my name is Tony Sawicki. I'm owner, operator, and more recently, janitor and shoveler of Silver Heights Restaurant, Winnipeg location. This year feels like a good time to provide a little bit of my experience as we look back at our time in this industry and the difficult years we've come through recently. I've been in the restaurant business all my life. I'm the 3rd generation, and pretty soon the 4th generation has come with my 2 children. My grandparents started this restaurant in 1957, not knowing anything about the restaurant business, but they rolled up their sleeves. They ran through the 50s, the 60s, the 70s, and muscling through it until my dad and his two brothers, my uncles, got involved, whatever they could. And they carried the torch and continued through the 70s, 80s, 90s, until I took the baton with my brother, and we've been going through 90s, 80s, whatever we are right now, 2020s. But keeping the traditions and the values of the predecessors, and specifically the one about not knowing anything about the restaurant business. So 30 years later, I was asked to be on the board of directors by friend Joe Lashivo from Pasquale's and Scott Johnson from formerly Manitoba Restaurant Foods, but now Manitoba Hotel. And it turned out to be one of the greatest honors of my life. And I say felt honored because I was sitting at the same table with people I've held an enormous respect for in the industry. And I thought to myself, what the hell am I doing here first? But also, here I am, a small-time restaurant guy sitting with industry giants. And at first I felt intimidated, as you can probably imagine, but then I was immediately welcomed, heard, and appreciated. And there were owners, there was managers, there were suppliers, there were service specialists, they were all on the board, all working toward the betterment of this industry. I soon realized that the restaurant industry could better be named as community, family, and competition wouldn't be a word I used anymore. From that point on, my mission was to help, but to listen and to learn, so I could work toward the betterment of my food service community. And the passion for this industry continued to grow for me. Not only was I trying to help the MRFA, but in turn it was helping me how I managed and empowered my staff, how I valued my customers, my relationships with my suppliers, but my involvement in the community as well. And then I soon had the second honor of my life, and that was becoming chair. So thank you very, very much for that. Although it was probably one of the most challenging times of my life, and I use that word because the other words I wanted to use, well, it would take this down a notch. But it was also rewarding. My door was and is always open for any member to walk in and sit down and talk, and they did. My phone's lighting up, my emails were coming in of everybody that had either challenges, concerns, scared, just wanted to talk, but most of them were ideas and solutions to get through. We worked together, we got through whatever we could. Meanwhile, our staff, Sean over there, Megan over here, now Natasha over there, they were our rocks. They worked 24/7. It seemed like every single day, fighting for grants, subsidies, keeping our members informed, creating allies with other organizations, and staying positive even when the outlook was less than ideal. Our board, our staff, our members, they made this association so strong. Today, the association is strong. It's rapidly growing. The board is diverse and membership is thriving. And I'm happy to say a lot has changed since the last time I was up here. A year ago, we were still in the middle of the most threatened periods of my life. We were still faced with grueling challenges from the result of pandemic restrictions. And this year had a little bit of a taste of normal, and we just don't know what the new normal is yet. But for now, it's been about focusing on rebuilding, as our MLA said. Restaurants are building back. We're building back our image, our reputation, regaining the confidence of our customers and the trust. We're restructuring our staff. We're adjusting expenditures and paying down whatever debt we might have incurred. Customers have been coming in. Postponed parties, events are now being held. Life is not quite normal, but it's no longer feeling like the dreaded word we heard so often, unprecedented. Owners, operators, staff, customers, we're talking about something positive now instead of what we were going through. So it's a great time. And although we're still dealing with the aftermath of a few difficult years, and I'm not going to go into detail of what that looks like, but we can be assured, whatever it is, the MRFA will be here for our members through what is on the horizon. And I promise to stay consistent with the vision, which is to be the most influential association supporting the advancement and promoting initiatives for restaurants in Manitoba. Now, my goals as chair, to put it simply, growth. Growth in membership, growth and values for our members, and growing relationships with our current and our future governments. And I look forward to growing alongside all of you as well. So thank you for joining us today and in 2023. So we'll get on to the next item of the agenda, and that's the minutes. The minutes of the last meeting of the members are available for perusal by any member and were sent by email to all the attendees prior to the AGM. And unless somebody wishes to read them, I will entertain a motion to verify and approve the minutes. Anybody read? You're good. Motion? Steve? Is that? Be resolved that the minutes of the last annual meeting of members held on November 23rd, 2021 be verified and approved. You heard the motion by Steve and Zed. Is there any discussion on the motion? All in favor, please signify by raising the right hand. Any contrary? Perfect. Next item of business is to receive and consider the financial statements for the year ended December 31st, 2021, including the balance sheet and accompanying statements together with the review engagement thereon, available for view by any member wishing and on the view screen. And the treasurer, Leo Ramirez, will please provide an overview of the review of the engagement report.
Okay, now the exciting stuff starts. We're all waiting for this. So set up there. Okay, we'll start with a statement of operations. We received on our revenue $306,975 for the year. That is comprised by federal subsidies, $84,000, provincial subsidies, $20,000, membership fees, $83,000, and other income of $118,000. Our expenditures were $281,000. I'm not going to list them all, but they're standard stuff. Advertising promotion was $19, advocacy $13, awards and scholarships $600. Banking credit charges $2,700, $1,000 for donations, education, training, $558. I think they're all up there. You can see them. The marketing is $37,000. That's high. That was due to marketing the different programs that we were offered from the governments and so forth. So that's why that's high. And our salaries went up again because we had to do the programs, so we had to hire an extra person for the office. So all in all, we had excess revenue of $25,000, 392. Our next is a statement of changes in net assets. Our net assets at the beginning of the year were $88,000, and then we had $25,000 revenue from the previous statement. So our year-end net asset at the end of the year is $140,113. The following statement is going to be our statement of financial position, basically a balance sheet. So we're sitting at cash of $159,997. We have some in GICs of $75,157 and some prepaid expense $892. Total cash, current assets is $236,000. Our liabilities was $111,933, and there's a long-term debt there that has to do with the CEBA of $10,000. So basically, our funds at the end of the year is $236,046. So a statement of cash flows. So our operating activity is $25,000. And the operating activities were left with $64,357. The increase in cash is $64,000. Added with the cash at the beginning of the year, we're left with a balance of $159,97. 997, as I mentioned in the previous statement. And that's the end of the review. Any questions by anyone? No? Then I'll call for Tony to ask to vote on the financial statements to be accepted. So don't have to do that. I'm not allowed, so. Okay.
I'll entertain a motion to approve these financial statements. Everybody, good. Can you hear me now? Can't hear myself. Jeff, was that? Perfect. Be resolved that the financial statements for the year ended December 31st, 2021, include the balance sheet and accompanying statements together with the accountant's review, engagement there, report thereon, be approved. You've heard the motion by Jay Kilgore and Jeff Hawkins. Is there any discussion on the motion? No. All in favor, please signify by using the right hand. Contrary? Good. Now it is now in order to appoint an accountant. Be resolved that FPLS Accounting Group be appointed as the accountant to perform the 2022 review engagement of the MRFA to hold office until the next annual meeting or until their successors are duly appointed and the MRFA's board of directors be authorized to fix the accounts remuneration. Can I have a motion for that? Raphael? Ray? And no discussion on that. All those in favor, please signify the usual manner. Perfect, perfect, perfect. And any contrary? Good. This makes it easy. All right, I declare FPLS Accounting Group appointed accountant. Now, fun one. The next item of business is the election of the directors and the re-election of the positions of the vice chairperson and the chairperson. Bylaw number 3 of the MRFA provides that the board of directors of the MRFA shall manage the affairs of the MRFA and shall consist of no less than 15 and no more than 25 directors. The chair will I will now hear a motion to elect a slate of 12 nominees as presented as directors. Tony Sawicki, Yvette Folk, Ray Louis, Drew Fisher, Costa Anathasopoulos. Did I get it right? Hasmita Matesh. All right. Carol Hamilton, Alfina Grande, Dave Patrician, Andy Foss, Sean Dolnick, and Kevin Penner. Be resolved that the slate of the 12 nominees is presented by elected as board of directors, each for a 2-year term or until his or her successor is elected or appointed. Can I get a motion? Joe, Ray? Is there any discussion on the motion? Okay, which one? TRI. Perfect.
My apologies, Mitesh, I'm sorry, or Hasmita, I'm so sorry.
Okay.
Bosty?
That's not fun.
All right,
I've been wrong
so
before.
sorry.
All right, Hasmita.
Well, thank you for letting me
Trivedi
know.
and Andy Bosty, just to make sure it's all legit. Perfect. And where were we? So is there any discussion on motion other than fixing the names? Very good. All right. All in favor, please signify by using the normal manner, raise your right hand. Any contrary? I now declare that slate of 12 nominees is presented as directors of the MRFA for a 2-year term or until his or her successor is elected or appointed. So congratulations and welcome. Thank you very much. I'll now entertain a motion to establish indemnification of the board of directors of the MRFA for various acts which they have taken since the date of the last annual meeting of members. Take a motion on that. Right. Be resolved that all bylaws, contracts, acts, and proceedings of the board of directors of the MRFA enacted, made, done, or taken since November 23rd, 2021, being the date of the last annual general meeting, be approved, adopted, ratified, sanctioned, and confirmed. And you've heard by Ray and you said. Any discussion on this motion? All in favor, please signify by using your right hand. Perfect. Any contrary? No, awesome. Okay, now the fun time. I'll now ask Sean Jeffrey, our Executive Director and CEO, to provide our report and our closing remarks.
Yeah, everybody knows I don't do the microphone or the podium thing. So I will start off with, I'm sure that you know me, but I'm not gonna act like maybe some people aren't here. But so my name is Sean Jeffrey. I'm the Executive Director and CEO of the Manitoba Restaurant Food Service Association. First of all, thank you. Thank you for coming. Last year, we came out of the pandemic and we filled this room almost. This year, I think we got 6 more people than we actually had last year. And that is just a relative fact on our industry and how interested we are and where we're going. And so I've been to a lot of AGMs in my time. I try to go to as many as possible, especially with my partners and stuff like that. Some busier, some not. But the energy that will happen at an MRFA AGM is uncontrary to a lot of these industries. And it's just a reason why I decide to hang out with you guys every year. So every year I do a presentation on what's happening in the industry. This year's no different. This year, return to what's normal. Really, is it? Is it? I hope so. What's normal for me? Normal is being able to go out with my wife for dinner and not have to worry about putting my mask on, and not have to worry about tripping over people, and not having to worry about having servers, you know, handing their food 3 feet over a table to try to stay away from me. That's the return to normal with me. We all know this is not over. We're still in it and we deal with it every day. But the reality is that every day that I go out, and everybody knows by their thumbs up things on Instagram and Facebook and all the times that I go out, the reality is that our industry is getting back to normal. And it's an amazing way to look to a point in time where we're getting back to something that was so normal for such a long time. Most of you don't know what the 3 pillars of the MRFA was. When I started here in 2018, this was a strong organization. You know, we'd gone through a little bit of trials and tribulations. But what I think we did was lack was a little bit of direction. So we kind of implemented, along with Megan, we really worked together on trying to really tell our members, what do we do? Like, what do we act for? What are we here for? And that's really 3 things. And that's to educate, that's to advocate, and that's to innovate our industry. All right, so those are our 3 pillars of the Restaurant Association. Educating is integral, because like Benjamin Franklin says, an investment in knowledge pays the best interest. Hopefully, because our interest rates are so low. But the reality is that knowledge, and this is why it was so integral that I had Shannon here today, because she is investing in our education of the people that we deal with on a day-to-day basis. And that's why it was such an important part of our industry. How do we share our knowledge? Well, we share it. How did we share it? Well, the pandemic, is it over? We don't know. We're in the middle of it. But in my eyes, we're moving forward. And moving forward talks about positivity, and it talks about looking for the future. Hiring is our new challenge. And the retention is key to our future. And this is why we have to continue to educate and invest in our industry's education processes, both working with our colleges, working with our educational institutions, and in educating the public on why it is so beneficial to work in our industry. I started at 14 years old, and sometimes I've maybe shared this story a couple times with you. So I'm 14 years old and I'm sitting in my room doing something that was not productive in any way. My dad's like, let's go to McDonald's. And my dad didn't take me out very often. So, but when he did, usually we went out for dinner. So let's go to McDonald's. I want to talk to you about some stuff. You go to McDonald's and we walk in the front door, and I'm pumped because I haven't had a Big Mac, because I had a 14-year-old that had a job. Couldn't afford a Big Mac. They're expensive back then. And he's like, I'm standing there at the ordering board, and this guy comes out and he looks at me and he's like, what size t-shirt are you? And I'm like, wow, so I'm gonna get a Big Mac and I'm gonna get a free McDonald's t-shirt today. and this is gonna be a really great day. So I'm ordering my food, and I said, well, I'm a medium, thank you very much. He comes back with McDonald's uniform, and he says, okay, go in the Washington, clean the walls. And that was the start of my restaurant career. It carried on for 20 years of working through restaurant chains, but it's imperative, the knowledge that chain of restaurants, that business taught me is integral to what I'm doing today. And I use the knowledge that I learned 14, 15, 16 years old working at McDonald's every single day that I work. We have a soapbox. Sometimes I stand on it. But we use three things. We use social media, we use our website, and we use email campaigns. Our social media this year was nominated for one of the most influential social media platforms at the 2022 Winnipeg Nightlife Awards. That was instrumental, because when I started here in 2018, there was no social media. We didn't have it. Megan started that social media in 2018, and look what we've been able to accomplish. What are we going to be able to accomplish 5 years from now? Our website continues to be a superhighway for our members. Our website is a communication hub that both members, the public, non-members, people that have nothing to do with the restaurant industry use regularly, mostly to contact me to yell at me because I'm doing something with restrictions, or Dr. Rusin is my best friend, or so forth. But I know they're going to the website because they're getting my information. And email campaigns, our email campaigns continue to set the precedence and the bar for open rates among our membership, which means that you're using it. The next is advocate. What do we want to do? Well, we got to work on collaborative partnerships. We got to work on food costs and availability. We have to work on our industry's health. Our industry has had the tar beat out of it for 2 years. We have to work on that health. We have to build it back up again. And we have to have acceptable timelines. I sit here and it was amazing to see Avi. Avi's a force in our industry and a resource that I can get in contact with any day of the week. Our newly elected mayor is the first time that an elected mayor, any mayor, has even talked to me in 3 years. So thank you for coming, but I need acceptable timelines. When we ask for something, we need it done in a timeline that is acceptable to you and to me, and that's what we push for. So what's on our menu? Wholesale liquor pricing. I'm going to push and push and push until that's a reality. We are surrounded by provinces that have it, and I am working diligently every day to make sure that becomes a reality. We've had some pretty instrumental discussions recently with the board of directors of MBLL. Unfortunately, Manny wasn't able to be here today, but we're moving that forward quickly. Staffing supports. We need to look to support our industry. The mayor said himself, we need to bring back the passion of working in our industry, and you need to support how we do that. The province has given us $500,000 for recruitment resources, and we utilized every single one of those dollars by promoting our industry. We need you. It was on the back of every bus that I saw. And the last thing is fee and permitting red tape reduction. The mayor talked about it today. Stop making the uncomplicated things complicated. Stop it. Just let us do business. Let us provide you with tax dollars. That's all we want to do. Last is innovation. Innovation is kind of one that I have because I feel that, I really like to talk about things that I used to do 20, 30 years ago and stuff like that. But every time I go to a Restaurants Canada show in Toronto, or we go to our trade show here in Winnipeg, man, the innovation is amazing. No robots. But it is amazing what we're doing in our industry with barcodes and contactless payments and the ability to be able to move forward. So what I actually did is I located the top 5 innovations in our industry in Canada, and that's contactless payment. Number 1, contactless payment. We do not need to have contact machines anymore. You can pay with your Apple Pay. You can pay right at your table. The next is air purification technology, and our chairperson is leading the way on that by making sure the air in our restaurants is as safe as it possibly can. We know that we're out of the pandemic, but we're not. People still think about this every single day, and we need to make sure that we're moving forward as fast as possible, and that's one way to do it. Cloud-based POS systems. Using the cloud, not necessarily having that hardware that can fall apart or not work when it's not operating properly or gets dropped in an ice bin or so forth. Having that cloud list. And then obviously, when you do have that handle field system, making sure they're accurate, fast, making sure that they're unique, making sure they're user friendly. You know, the new debit terminals that I had used the other day at the restaurant, the numbers were so big, I could have seen them from a kilometer away. But, you know, I had terrible eyesight. So, you know, sometimes I can't necessarily see that and I miss a pin, my PIN number. You have to do that kind of stuff, all right? Some people have visual problems, all right? And the last thing, and this is actually quite surprising that we haven't adapted it here, but I'm going to be bringing this to you, is virtual onboarding reality. Why do you have to bring someone to your restaurant to show them your restaurant when you can do it through virtual reality? This is what my restaurant looks like. This is what the kitchen looks like. This is what you need to do in the kitchen. This is your entire onboarding process. And they've been doing this in Toronto for years. We got to wake up. We got to bring this to Manitoba. I'm going to bring it here. You know, innovation is also about partnerships. This year, we instituted a 700-year-long partnership that we've been working so hard at for so long. And thank you to Sachet Mayor and Brad Cramble for this initiation process and helping us get that now every MRFA restaurant member is a Restaurants Canada member. And that's included in your membership fees. That is integral to getting us into the future. Restaurants Canada can bring a lot of statistics to the table, a lot of benefit programs to the table. It just allows us to take our business to the next level. And we've worked very hard. Day one, I was sitting in restaurants in one of my favorite restaurants, Range Areas, with Mr. Chrysalis, talking to Restaurants Canada about making this a reality. And it took a little time, but we made it a reality. And this is for the future. We're really excited about this partnership. Membership growth, Tony talked about it a little bit. It's integral. It's all about the proof in the pudding. You have to grow. You can't shrink. All right. So growth in membership is integral. In my time at the Restaurant Association, it got kind of scary in the pandemic because, no offense, I was not coming to ask for restaurant fees because I know you guys were struggling so bad. I was dealing with it every day. All right. Coming out of the pandemic, we saw some of the largest growth this association has ever seen. Note the pizza with the steam on the bottom. It's quite interesting. We have hit a trajectory and a membership growth number that we've never been at before. And that is because of the hard work of our board of directors, our chairperson, our vice chairperson, and our team. Pushing, putting $11 million in grants into the industry. Hiring people to administer those programs instead of just telling them to do it themselves. Pushing for more money, pushing for recruitment money, hiring money. And that has been noticed and we appreciate it. But like Tony said, we are only as strong as the people that stand behind me, right? And I need more and I will never stop. Our growing membership programs, these are the programs that we use to grow our membership, hiring campaigns, bringing that to light. I had an amazing conversation with the Ukrainian Society Coalition this week about bringing Ukrainian culinary foodies into Manitoba and putting them in kitchens. They want to work and we want talent, right? Website traffic. 70% of all of our visitors monthly are new users. 70%. That means we're seeing new people coming in all the time, checking out what resources are on there. Our emails, they perform at 10% above the industry average. And when you have an open rate of like 40, 50%, 10% is quite significant. And that's above the industry average. We have 5 new member benefit programs in 2022. I already have 3 new ones for 2023 that we're working on. And we're going to continue to drive this home with monthly webinars on all of these new programs. We have a water savings program that is guaranteed to save you 15% in your water bill, or they will walk away, take their equipment, and go home. And we'll charge you a dime. That's coming. The natural gas resource, the collaboration that we did with Wholesale Energy, the natural gas rebate, has saved some of our members thousands and thousands of dollars. Your membership fee is $250 a month, or $250 a month.
50 a year,
250,
275 for 2023.
5,275. So, and the last thing is our events and our publications. Anyone who saw Local Fair this year? Best publication you've ever seen. Wow, amazing. And the content and the feedback that we got, so much so that we just recently picked up the Winnipeg Airport Authority will be holding our publication. We've also worked with the city of Winnipeg holding it in their facilities also. And that is a distribution increase of almost double. Not to mention our amazing trade show with the MHA, our golf tournament, all of these great events. Talking about events, what's coming? Yes, I'm excited. Yes, we have the trade show, the 25th of April. Put it on your calendar. Our golf tournament, the 20th of August 2023, usually the third Tuesday. But a return after 18 years. Used to be called the Phantom Feast. Before that was called the President's Dinner. Is the Passion for Fair Gala. Day one, I'm sitting with Leo Bermudez, and he was sitting there, and I'm eating my free steak sandwich at Bailey's, and he's like, Sean, I want a dinner. Sean, I want a dinner, and he's been on me for years. We want a dinner. We need to do a dinner. We need to do a dinner. We need to get back to actually doing what we want to do and create that hospitality. Do that again. So the Passion for Fair Gala is February 7th, 2023. On your table, you have a barcode and a little bit of information on the gala. This is not going to be your typical gala, folks. I go to these things every day. Sometimes I like them, most of the times I don't. My wife and I just went to one a couple weeks ago, couldn't get out of it fast enough. You know, it's just because they're just work, right? I assure you, this gala was created to do everything that I don't want to see at these. All right, there'll be no big speeches. Our MC for the evening is Adam Bighill. Should have been a 3-time Grey Cup champion, 2-time Grey Cup champion. Our comedian for the evening will be Big Daddy Taz. We'll be creating custom created content for the restaurant industry, which means he's just going to bag on us for like 2 hours straight. But he's a nationally recognized, amazing Manitoban. And Carter Graham's trio. Carter Graham is a nationally recognized pianist with 2 master's degrees in music, and he is going to be playing music for the evening. And there will be no big speeches. You won't even see me, because I'll be just having fun with the rest of you. All right, we're going to have a great, amazing evening. The Culinary Federation of Winnipeg is going to be creating a custom-made, local created menu with Chef Peter Eckert at the helm of that. Sean Jolinek, the president of the Sommelier Association, also on our board of directors, will be there custom pairing wines at each table, high quality, amazing wines, all surrounded by an entertainment factor that is going to knock you off your socks. You're going to want to stay all night. And it's at the Club Region Event Center, so you can just go up to your hotel if you want to, because you can if you want. Okay? Super excited about that. Since I started here, I have been focused of trying to give back. And during the pandemic, when you guys were all struggling so hard, we never gave back so much. We've done Carmen's Dream in the past, $41,000. This year, our partnership with the Leftovers organization, org.org. As you see here, we provided the Leftovers Association org a check of $5,150 from our golf tournament, $5,150. And that was all raised by you, by our amazing associate members, contributing, going to our golf tournament. And we were able to provide them. They're an amazing organization that takes food extras and uses them to food banks. All right, so we continue to give back no matter how much detriment we're feeling. It's so important. Both our board of directors and us, we both feel it's an integral part of us moving forward. All right, this is the fun part. So this year we have 3 awards to be given away. This is something we started doing last year because I'm telling you, coming out of the pandemic, we needed to recognize some people. All right, so this year we have 3 awards to give away. All right, the first award is going to be our Lifetime Achievement Award. This person has recently retired, was on our board of directors, and gave almost 40 years to this industry, supporting it in one way or another. It was an amazing resource when I needed him and to get feedback on what was happening on the supplier aspect of the industry. He was the first person I would call. He always answered the phone. He always supported us when he can. Not to mention, he's been an amazing support of the association over the years in events. We have to recognize Dale Michaud. Come on, Dale. Take a picture. Thumbs up.
Love the thumb pose.
Thanks, Frank. Appreciate it. I'm going to ask Musette Folk, who is our vice chair, to come up and present the director of the year.
All right, so we want to obviously take time to recognize directors who have contributed and been a significant part of working with us towards our goals and achieving our objectives. And it is one of those things where you think about being a board on the board of directors, and you look at, what can I do? What can I do to support? Where are my skill sets going to create the most value? And this year we want to recognize somebody who's created significant membership achievements in terms of advocating for additional membership and looking at how we can grow our membership and looking at how we can advocate towards growing our base. And that's a significant jump, which has been very helpful over the last year. And so I want to recognize Sean Dolnick as Director of the
Pose for me. Thank you, friends. I almost got Sean in the background. Thank you.
We still ask Mr. Sawicki, the legend himself. Did anyone see him on the news last night? He had Christmas lights around his neck. It's just amazing. It's super funny. I'm trying to sit on the couch. I couldn't, but I almost fell on my chair. But I'll like Mr. Sawicki to present the member of the year.
I don't know why the media likes me too much, but it's, I'll take it, of course. So this award here, there's really no question about this award. This member has been a member for over 100 years, I think. He was one of the industry giants I was talking about earlier, a person who just welcomed everybody to the industry. No matter who worked for him, has nothing but positive things to say. He's built them, he's created success stories for each one. Everybody that I've ever talked to that worked has just enormous respect for this individual. People always remember what you say, what you say. People don't remember what you say, but they remember how you make them feel. And this guy definitely makes everybody feel welcome and like a millionaire. Always great things to say. He's got his knowledge is vast, his experience is just amazing. And he's one of those guys that also built restaurants during the pandemic where we thought absolutely crazy. So I'd like to present this award to Mr. Doug Stephen.
Incognito, 100 pounds wider guy.
Looking good, man, looking good.
And a great lip sync.
Judge, I always gave it to you. I like the result. I just hated the diet to get there.
Thank you, Tony. When I started this industry, I never thought I would actually come back to the restaurant industry, because I was so happy in my career. And when I had a chance to join the MRFA 2018, all they had to say was Doug Stephen. That's it. Adversity is a key thing in anybody's positivity and their willingness to be able to grow their life and their business. And every day we open up a restaurant in this province, Doug, people are looking at you on where they're going to achieve. And you absolutely inspire everybody here to continue to be restaurateurs. People join this industry because of you. I know you're well respected among the academic industry too. But I'm telling you from me to you, you're the reason I'm here. So thank you very much. So that officially concludes my presentation, but I do have one video for you. Hi. I'm Sean Gerber, CEO of the Manitoba Restaurant Association, and I have a key question for you. Where are you going to be February 7th, 2023? The answer is simple. The Club Region Event Center, 400 of your closest industry friends. Join us and fellow foodies for a spectacular evening of breathtaking, locally resourced food, accompanied by exciting Manitoba entertainment, all surrounded in the best in local restaurant foods. We call it Passion for Fair Gala. It's a passion for fair that helped us recreate this fabulous event, which marks its return after 20 years. Come join us celebrate and return to what brings us the most joy, hospitality. Cheers. I thank you for coming today. I hope to see you at the gala, but let's go out there and kick some ass. Have a great day.
Who makes this thing look so easy up here? So thank you very much, Sean. That was excellent. And we can't wait for next year and the years to come. And it looks like we're on a momentum that's not going to stop anytime soon. And I'm glad to be part of it again. So if there's any further business to bring before this meeting? Yeah, as if there's none, then I'll entertain a motion to conclude. Everybody's motioning. Good. Be resolved that this meeting is concluded, and you've heard the motion by everybody. No discussion needed. All in favor? Everybody. Against? No. Okay. This meeting is now concluded. Thank you very much.
Okay.